Hi you guys, hope you're all okay. This is the beginning of the Doctor Who video, just doing a short intro now. Just a disclaimer, I've been watching Doctor Who since I was 8. Since the end of David Tennant to Matt Smith. Matt Smith was my first Doctor. So if you assume he's the number one, he's not. A lot's changed. But I'm a very passionate fan of the show. I care about the show. I might make videos on what's going on with the show because the Disney Plus deal, and what's going on with Ncuti Gatwa is 15 and David Tennant is 14 because he's coming back for the specials with Russell T Davies. If you like the Doctor Who content, please let me know and I'll still do it. It just means a lot to me, so I've taken a lot of time, and I remember saying I was going to do it before Silverstone, but that got in the way, and I've released my music, that's got in the way, but that's enough waffle. These are my opinions. This doesn't mean it's right or wrong. It's just how I feel. I've tried to be true to myself and actually say how I feel and not, go off other people's tier lists. I've watched a lot recently just to kind of get myself back in to Doctor Who and, try and be as on the ball as I can when I'm talking about the Doctor episodes. And also I've been watching tier lists, try and work out how to communicate it to the audience, try and be a little bit better. I'm still finding it a bit difficult to talk to the camera, but we're getting better. And hopefully you guys can see that as we go along. But it's going to be quite a long video, probably 10 to 15 minutes. I'm going to do them in little cuts. So there'll be one hour to an hour and a half video at the end when I've done them all. So you don't have to keep jumping from all videos and you can just watch the big one. But yeah, so they're my opinions. Please don't be offended. You can make your own list if you're upset with it. And yeah, we'll just get into it. So the first Doctor that I have put in F tier, the only Doctor that I put in F tier, is Jo Martin, and she plays the fugitive Doctor. And I really like Jo. I would say that she comes onto the screen, she commands your attention. I think when you see her, especially in that episode, Fugitive of the Judoon, I don't think Jodie established herself till the end of season 2. Personally, for me, I didn't feel Jodie was the Doctor for a while. It was difficult, and I'll go into Jodie a little bit later. But I found it a bit tricky. However, with Jo, straight away I was like, yes, she's the Doctor. And I know it's a bit timey-wimey, and it's a bit weird about how she is and where she is in the timeline, and we'll get on to Timeless Child as well because that's impacted it. Originally we thought she was between 1 and 3, but she's not. I think personally that she's before, when the Doctor was found, before she was the Doctor, she was found on that planet. I don't know what the planet was called, I'm really sorry, I'll put it up there, by Tectayun, and then she experimented on the Doctor and created a race called the Time Lords. Now, there's an issue with that because personally I think it should be the Master, and I might make a video in going into that because I've recorded this start of the video so many times and I just waffle on for about 2 minutes. So I might make a separate video explaining my thoughts on the Timeless Child and the Timeless Children and say what I kind of think. But to me, it messes it up. And I think with the Doctor that they should have picked someone else. Even if it wasn't the Master, just somebody else would have been better. So I think she's before. She still calls herself the Doctor, so if she is pre-Hartnell, then she probably wouldn't have started calling herself the Doctor yet. But again, I don't know. And that's the reason why Ruth ranks so low, because, I think Jo Martin is a really good actress. She's really good. I just wish we had more time with her because we don't have any time at all, and it's very frustrating. It's quite upsetting. Because it's like, oh, what could have been? I think Russell T Davies will abandon the plotline and pretend that Timeless Children never happened. I'll be okay with that, but I would really, just as a fan, would like to see them try and sort of fix the hole that Chibnall made. Because I do think it was a bit of a mistake. But the episode itself was very pretty, so I'll give it that. And Sacha Dhawan, the Master, was really good in it, as always, because he's good. But yeah, I just wish we had more time with her. I wish we actually knew who she was, what she was doing, where in the timeline she is. And I just wish we had a little bit more. And with Disney Plus coming on, hopefully they make spin-off seasons for Doctors that didn't have enough time in the TARDIS. Like I would say Paul McGann would be that would make me happy. And I've posted on Instagram that is what I want to happen from this whole Disney Plus thing. I do not want companion shows, really. I've seen people ask for the Paternoster Gang from Matt Smith's era, and I was, no thanks, I'm not watching that. I would like it to be spin-offs for Doctors, or making Big Finish episodes into actual episodes. That would be, that'd be great. But I don't think it will. I think it will be companions. And as a fan of the Sarah Jane Adventures, that irks me a little bit, because I think that was a really good show. And rest in peace to Elizabeth Sladen. She was great. She was amazing as Sarah Jane. She was one of my favourite companions from Classic Who and also Modern Who, because she was in episodes with Tennant and Matt Smith on the Sarah Jane Adventures. So I hope if they do a Doctor spin-off show with Doctors, I would hope Ruth gets one, because she is really good. That was the whole point of that. And I wish we had more time with her. But overall, I don't think we had enough time. You know, it's hard because we literally only had about 3 episodes where she's in. And then, you know, for half of that, they're probably like 30 seconds that she's in. So I think she works really well with Jodie. She works well with the other companions. I do think she's good. So that's why I put her in F. Right, next up. These 2 Doctors that I'm going to rank, for me, I put them in the E tier and they're equal. And it's just a bit tricky for me, because I'm finding it, I think the one's really good on Big Finish and better than the other, but I think in Classic Who and series-wise, I think the other one has a better series than the other one. So I'm just going to drop out the names. Colin Baker, Peter Davidson, in no particular order. If I'm honest, probably would go Peter Davidson and then Colin Baker because of Big Finish, and I really enjoy listening to the Big Finish audio. Like, I started doing it recently, started listening again because I wanted to give Paul McGann a fair shot, because he only has the TV movie and Night of the Doctor, and I just from Night of the Doctor and the cameos that he's done, I was like, I have to listen to them again, so I did. And you probably will know that from other videos that I've made that I've been listening to it, because I've said. But then that gave me an excuse to listen to Peter Davidson and Colin Baker on Big Finish. And yeah, for me, Colin Baker is everything I like about the Doctor, but too much. So he's way too aggressive, and I do like an aggressive Doctor. And I do like someone that commands the attention of the other life forms that are in the room with him, whether it's humans, whether it's aliens, whether it's, you know, people he's fighting against, or it's people that he's like his companions. I like that. I like a commanding weirdo, and I like how awkward the Doctor can be sometimes. Fish fingers and custard is great. It's just great. But Colin Baker is way too awkward. He's way too aggressive. And he's even grumpier than Hartnell at times, the first Doctor. I think it's a weird blend. I think they dropped the ball after Tom Baker, if I'm honest, because this is why I have an issue with Peter Davidson. Because you've gone from having such a, you know, he is the Doctor, Tom Baker is the Doctor, to people that grew up with Classic Who. Tom Baker is the one that they all say, Tom Baker was great. Tom Baker is the people who play the Doctor. Their Doctor is Tom Baker. Baker revolutionised the way the characters looked at in this series. And you've just gone from this, you know, enjoyable, charismatic, a bit weird, because he is a bit weird, and, you know, and he's a bit mediocre, Peter Davidson. I like the celery. The celery thing's weird, it's cool. But other than that, I just feel like I'm watching a snooze fest when I watch his episodes. And I think if Ruth had more time, if Jo Martin had more time, she would definitely be higher. Because I want to know what the Doctor's doing. With the 5th Doctor and the 6th Doctor, it's like, yeah, okay, well, they're cool. I just think I don't have a connection with them as much as I have with the others. And it's difficult. It's really difficult. I despise the outfit of Colin Baker. I will say that. I really don't think that a man who wears such flashy clothes should be, you know, so serious, and he should be campy. Like, he should be energetic. He should be making fun. He should just not be so like, I don't know. That's just what I think. I much prefer listening to Colin Baker on Big Finish than I do with Peter Davidson. Much prefer it. It's so much more, you know, I feel so much more involved with the story and so like drawn into what I'm listening to. And I've got an urge to keep listening and to, you know, if I'm going to work, I'm like, oh, I really want to know what happens next. So I'll listen to it when I'm walking home. But with Peter Davidson, it's like, oh, I might as well just stick a playlist of Spotify. Speaking of, my new song's out. I'll put a link in the bio. But yeah, so I've ranked them there. So I think personally that's not very offensive. I think a lot of other Whovians will say that that's where they rank on their lists. I mean, I just think that obviously Colin Baker had a better run on Big Finish and his stories are good and his work is good. And seeing them both come back of Power of the Doctor for a cameo was nice. It's good. I did enjoy it. But seeing Colin Baker made me think, really, you could have been something special. You really could have. You really could have. And I think Peter Davidson's a bit more mediocre for me. Colin Baker's more offensive to me, but and what I think the Doctor should be, but I've got a little bit of respect for it because it's like, well, at least you tried something different. I just feel like Peter Davidson is like the one that everyone will say is like, yeah, it's all right, it's okay. And for me, that's not what the Doctor should be. And that's why I've ranked them there. Next up, and I'll do this one as the last one, it's John Hurt, the late, great John Hurt. I can remember at the end of Matt Smith's run, I was kind of falling out of love with the show because you grow up a little bit. I can't remember, I'll do the maths and I'll put on the screen how old I was when Series 7B dropped, because obviously I did Series 7A with Amy and Rory, and then Series 7B with Clara. And I don't really like the 11 and Clara, but we'll go into that a little bit later. I really do like it, and I do think it's good. But the only reason he's in Doctor Who is because Eccleston wouldn't come back. And I can't really get my head over that. Because I would really like to know what they would have done if Eccleston would have come back. And that's the only thing. Would it have been cooler to see 9, 10 and 11? Probably. But don't get me wrong, I really do like John Hurt. And when I grow old, I really hope that I am that sort of, you know, grumpy old man. He does have a little bit of fun. He is a bit like Hartnell, I will say that. He's a bit grumpy at the start, but you can understand because he's fought in the Time War. And Day of the Doctor, when Paul McGann regenerates into John Hurt, I understand why you couldn't show a young John Hurt, because John Hurt is old. Like, I understand why he's not here anymore, sadly. Rest in peace, John Hurt. But, you know, you can't CGI, they kind of CGI his face, but I just don't understand when Paul McGann asks for a warrior, why it is John Hurt. Surely you would go for someone else. And I understand you've picked an older Doctor because the Time War's aged him. I get that, but I would have loved to have seen someone really obscure as the War Doctor, and not someone that could have played a classic Who Doctor. Do you know what I mean? It's a bit difficult, but overall, I really like John Hurt. I think he is the Doctor. Like, I can see that he is the Doctor. He may have not called himself the Doctor, but he is the Doctor, as Matt Smith said in Day of the Doctor. It's he is a really solid pick, but I just think we didn't have enough time. And if he didn't have enough time, that means that Ruth didn't have any time whatsoever, because he had an hour and a half because it was the special. But overall, I think he interacts well with 11 and 10 in Day of the Doctor, and you know, Gallifrey stands is one of my favourite quotes from that. And I think Day of the Doctor's a really good episode, so that also boosts where he's going to be, because I love that episode. Like, I rewatch it all the time with the Zygons. It's great. And I just think, you know, more would have been cool, but obviously he was very old, and it's going to be difficult what you can do, because that's really the one story that the War Doctor's actually involved with. But yeah, so I put him there. And now it's about to get spicy now. It's about to get really spicy. So, yeah, that's the end of the video, guys. I hope you really enjoyed so far. Thank you for listening to me ramble. And I'll sign this one off in a minute. But I just wanted to say thank you so much for the support, guys, recently. Obviously, the shorts blew up a little bit, getting to 1K, my first video at 1K. And I'm trying to redo that. But my Silverstone short got up to 100 views, so that was a positive as well. It's just a shame that the short has more views than the original video, but that's okay, that's fine. I just wanted to say thank you for the new subscribers, and thank you for all the likes, and thank you for all the continuous support, because it means a lot to me. And I know that I haven't got all the technology in the world to make this as smooth as possible. And like when I'm recording shorts of Pokemon, like it looks really dodgy because I'm literally recording my TV. But I just wanted to say thank you. And if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. That would make me a very, very happy man. And yeah, thank you so much for this part of the video, guys, and watching this one. I will let you know when the next part is, and I'll probably hint at which doctors we will be ranking. But yeah, so far, F tier, Joe Martin, E tier, Peter Davidson and Colin Baker, and then John Hurt. And I'll see you next time, guys. Thank you. Peace.